Hey folks, MacT here, and you do not want to swap an engine on an EcoBoost until you watch this, because you will fail if you don't listen to what I'm going to tell you. Remember, join MACTFORDEDGE on MeWe. That's right, that's the only place you're going to find me. I am no longer on that other platform, so if you have questions concerning your Ford Edge, you need to jump into the MeWe group. We are growing every day, and it is better than the other place. So anyway, let's go on to what we need to know before we start swapping out EcoBoosts on our Ford Edges, because nothing will appear as it seems. And there are a lot of trials and tribulations involved in swapping out engines and pitfalls that you need to be aware of. First things first, we're going to start out with the Gen 1.5, the 2012 through the 2014 model year Ford Edge. It looks just like this. That engine does have the Mazda block in it, as I said in a previous video, but it does have a Ford engineered head on it. Basically, what you're getting out of that is a 240 horsepower, 270 foot-pounds of torque, and it is not a twin scroll. It is, of course, a single scroll turbo, which has a little bit of a lag to it because of the design of the turbo, and does not give you that low-end torque. That's why they didn't do towing on that 1.5 Gen with the 2.0, and had problems with the low-end torque on them. So yeah, the turbo was the whole thing. And again, this engine here, this first gen EcoBoost with the Mazda platform, was also not compatible with any other EcoBoost up the chain, all the way to the present EcoBoost today. So if you're going to swap, you're going to have to swap that generation EcoBoost engine out for another equal generation EcoBoost, because the 2015 through 2018 will not backpedal into it, and neither will the 2019 plus backpedal into that engine. So you have to stick to your model years when you do buy this generation of EcoBoost in this model of Ford Edge. Now onward to the generation 2015 through 2018 Ford Edge. That 2.0 EcoBoost is an upgrade from the original Mazda block with the engineered head, but it also is a little bit stouter, I guess you could say, because it has a what is it, 245 horsepower. So it's a jump up of 5 horsepower for that EcoBoost with 275 foot-pound of torque. So you get 5 plus 5 on the new updated EcoBoost for the 2015 through 2018. Now keep in mind on this, there are a lot of differences that are going into this EcoBoost, and this engine again is not backwards compatible to the 2012 through 14. You must stay within your generation of EcoBoost. And here's the problem with this. If you want to swap the engine, say you have that coolant intrusion thing, here's the pitfall. Do not go out and buy a junkyard engine from another Ford Edge of that same generation, because it has the same flaw. Now if you happen to find a junkyard engine that is updated and was for that generation, then you may be lucky. But keep in mind, you will have to buy either a remanufactured or used engine, and if you buy the used one, you better darn sure make sure it is an updated VEP engine that says something to the lines of a 240 or whatever it is for that VEP, Valencia Engine Plant update. Because the Clevelands, they do have a few Clevelands out there, but keep in mind, you got to stick to your generation. So there are Ford new engines available for the 2015 through 2018 that are VEP engines manufactured after 2019 that will work in it. So Ford does sell that, but they also have begun selling short blocks. And a lot of their engine replacements, they used to do long blocks. Now they do short blocks. So that means you got to pay a lot of labor to replace the block. That means they have to take everything off. So some of the pitfalls that you will run across if you try to upgrade to the 2019 Plus engine are the fact that one, you will have a problem with your electronic wastegates and coolant lines for your turbo. That's because all the connections are different. So when you take and try to put a 2019 into your 2018, all the connections are different for the turbo. Another problem you're going to have is that the turbo studs for the 2019 will not fit the 2018. They're off by ½ an inch. That's right, Ford redesigned them. So you cannot put a 19 in there and try to swap everything over onto a 2019 thinking, yeah, I'm good. It's not going to work. You're going to have to reapply everything there, and if you get that block, it ain't going to be cross-compatible. So therefore, you still have to stick within your model year and stay with that EcoBoost. The other things is the oiling and coolant tube lines are all different, and the connections have changed. So now all of this lays into you swapping it. You have to stay within your engine grade as far as the model years. If you do not, you are not going to be happy. The head is different because in 2019 they added an EGR. The 2015 through 2018 has no EGR, so the head is not made to fit what you got. So now you'll have a head, if you swap that 2019 Plus into your 2015 through 18, it's not going to work. You'll have to swap the head. So you're running into problems there. The other thing is the fuel pump bolt area is different. The fuel pump on the 2015 through 2018 is back behind to the side of the valve cover. So it has different lines, it has different connections. So now we're looking at not only the lines and connections that you have to manage, but you're also looking at electrical connectors that are either too short, too long, or the wrong type. So now you have a whole nother wiring harness issue that you're going to have to deal with when you're going to do that. Some of the other things is also the valve cover is physically different on the 2019 compared to the 2018. So now you have incompatibility of the valve cover fitting there if you're going to try to do a swap. So I guess the moral of the story is that you have some other issues. But on the plus side, as you can see for the 2015 through 2018, they did also change the turbo from the 2014 model, and it is a twin scroll turbo, as in the picture that I have right over here. The twin scroll is essentially two scrolls. One is a smaller scroll and the other one's a larger scroll. The smaller scroll, what they've done is they've taken and they alternated what cylinders pump into what scroll. So in the smaller scroll, two of the cylinders are filling that to give you better low-end torque, and then the upper scroll is bigger and it allows you to get that high-end part of it. So what they've done is they've basically cut the baby in half, and they're having the cylinders running through two separate scrolls, and you still got the same turbo, but the turbo again will not fit on anything else. And it won't even fit onto your 2019. Your 2019 will not fit on there. It's the same turbo, but they have adjusted the block, and the studs are definitely further apart, so you cannot hot swap that out either. So you got to be careful if you're going to buy a used turbo and it came off of 2019, it will not fit your 2018. So you have to stay within your generation for the 2015 through 2018. So these are some of the pitfalls that I've been running across. So let's go out and look at a 2019 VEP, and keep in mind the problem is with the VEPs in the video right here that you're going to see. It's a 2015 VEP. It has the same pitfalls as the Edge 2.0. okay, because yes, it is a VEP, but it was built the same way as the Cleveland engines. So keep that in mind. Those VEPs are built the same way and will have coolant intrusion. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you a secret. We have coolant intrusion in the 2019s also, but from a totally different system. Now, looking at this 2019 Ford Edge Titanium all-wheel drive 2.0 EcoBoost, we have some upgrades. Ford did in 2019 change the engine design so you do not have that coolant intrusion anymore, but they also kept the same twin scroll. Everything's the same, and they also in 2015 they went from 9.3 to 1 compression to 10.1 compression. So this engine has a 10.1 to 1 compression ratio, and it puts out 250 horsepower and 280 foot-pound of torque. So if you wanted to look at it, each generation has gained 5 foot-pounds of torque and 5 horsepower. So right now we're looking at a 10 horsepower change from the 2012 design up to the 2019. Now, as far as what we're looking at on the Edge, this 2019, you're going to have the high pressure fuel pump right here. On the 2015 through 18s, it's back here. So now you have lines and connectors and everything else. The other thing is the oil. You will find that the dipstick and the fill cap is further over here for them. So the valve cover is physically different and will not fit. It's been redesigned. So you have those issues. On top of it, when you go back in the back section here that you're looking at, back here you have an EGR cooler. And then of course you do have down here your EGR valving and everything else that you have to get underneath the air box to get to. So what they did in 2019 is they added an EGR to the EcoBoost. That's right, a little bit of taste of diesel for you, but they do have the EGR. Now they do not have the coolant intrusion because instead of cutting the slot through the cylinders, like in this picture that I got up here, you'll see the old way that they used to do it, cutting the slots. They stopped doing that and they started drilling a small pinhole in between the cylinders at the thicker points. So that was a change that they made. But the EcoBoost still can do, as far as this VEP, and this is a VEP 100, and you can see the date and everything else on it right there. And this is built in 2018, but it is built for the 2019 specs. So this was done in 2018 when they made these changes, but these engines were for the 2019 model year, so all those changes were incorporated into it. The problem with the coolant intrusion now is the EGR springs a leak, and that cooled EGR coolant goes into the engine and creates the same issue as coolant intrusion through the cylinders. And then you got to replace the EGR, and that's a little simpler. You can replace the EGR cooler, but overall you do have changes. So when you try to swap that over, you're gonna find that a 2019 engine will not work for those physical issues. Plus you're looking at all the different connectors and the wiring harness. It will not be hot swappable like you think. So you have to stay in your generation of Edge in order to make the swap possible. So if you got a 2019, you got to stay in the 2019 till present EcoBoost system. Otherwise you will find that you have a problem in that. So overall, you have to pay attention to what you're doing to make sure that when you swap engines, you are swapping it within your family as far as staying within your generation. Because if you don't, you're going to be extremely disappointed in the ultimate end, because you will find that nothing will fit. Well folks, that's it in a nutshell. You got to stay within your generation. And I do know for a fact Ford does sell long block engines that are for your 2015 through 2018, and they are Valencia engine plant engines. That's right. Seems like the Cleveland side is went away, and is definitely going to be a problem to get. The beauty about it is the 2012 through 14 are pretty rock solid EcoBoosts, and I would not have a problem in buying a used one as far as that generation, because that Mazda block is solid in the head and everything. The weak part on that engine, of course, is the turbo, but that's a wastegate issue, and you replace the turbo and you're off and running again. So that was the early problem, so they probably got redesigned, updated turbos for that reason in that model year. But yeah, if you're going to do a 2015 through 2018 engine swap, do not get one from a junkyard, because you will be disappointed, because you're essentially buying an engine that is doomed to fail. So you're going to have to spend the money and buy a revamped one that is made for that generation, because you can't use the 2019 Plus. It is not backwards compatible to what you're doing. So, you know, you're going to have to spend the money to buy that long block and do it, or you might be able to get a short block. You know, that's your choice what you want to do, but you're doing a lot of swapping then to go and trade off everything on it. So I don't know if the time is worth the money and vice versa, but keep this in mind before you do an engine swap. Do not swap it out for a used 2015 through 2018 EcoBoost. You're going to have to go new with that, or short block at the bare minimum. It just isn't going to work. And those 2019 Pluses, yeah, you know, keep in mind the 2019 is not backwards compatible to any other EcoBoost. And from, you know, if you want to get one from a Fusion, just keep in mind you have to play the game the same way, and it may not be compatible. I had one guy trying to do a Fusion engine into a 2015, and it just wasn't made. There's other things in there I forgot to add. I want to add on here now is the coolant pump openings are different because of the EGR and everything else. So the 2019 water pump will not fit a 2015 and vice versa. They are not compatible in that aspect because the ports are different, and also the ports on the turbo are slightly redesigned along with the studs. So yeah, even the coolant pump won't be backwards compatible on that, because they did change the ports on that and how it mounts up to the engine. So yeah, the 2019 is a whole critter by its own. So essentially we got 3 generations of engines here. We got the first generation EcoBoost, which is 2012 through 14. Then we got the second generation, which is 2015 through 2018, and then we have the third generation EcoBoost, which is the 2019 till present day. So yeah, keep in mind before you do anything, do your research, because it will pay off in the long run. And hey, I've done swaps on the Duratex, as you saw in Project Herbie, and hey, it worked out beautiful. We had very little that we had to worry about, but we stayed within our generation. And that's what made it so much easier to do all the work on that. So I'm just trying to save you some time, effort, and money when you go out looking, and give you a little bit of advice based on my knowledge and experience of what's going on with these edges. So that being said, my feet hit the floor today. I'm having a great day, and I want you to have a great day too. Band of One always has some great music. Mercy Girl has, yeah, she always has a couple one-liners. And by all means, hit that like button. That's right, get me up there. Share the videos, help, and hey, that super thanks. You know, you can also support the channel through the super thanks, and I thank all the members that have so far. So join the crowd as far as the super thanks. Every dollar you give helps. It helps promote this channel. So I do thank those of you who have already donated through super thanks, because you are my super viewers, and I appreciate each and every one of you so much. So thanks again, and maybe there might be a little bonus footage on something I did, I don't know. But hey, stand by, I got another video coming on drilling of a PTU in as much complete detail as possible. And Herbie's got a new drain plug on his PTU, and I think that's going to be a great video, and I will have the oil test results for the first 3,000 miles of run on a brand new PTU as part of that video, so stand by for that. Wow, you can hardly believe it, but yeah, look at this. Everything is clean. Cannot believe it. Oh, Herbie looks perfect. No leaks. Nothing. Everything is going great. So what we're going to do...
Thank you for watching MacT's videos, and remember to like and subscribe. This is a Mercy Go production.